What up, everybody? Here we are for part 2 of our Q&A. Got the family with me. This is exciting. Now, the topic is very serious and near and dear to my heart. I was diagnosed with colon cancer in October 2022. We wanted to do this in 2 parts. We had part 1, which was security and kind of the personal life and smart home, and now we're talking cancer. So this is going to be a joint effort. I got my support crew here, the key factors of the Lingabeer Fight Club, and we're going to let you guys ask your questions. You guys gave some great questions about my journey and stuff, and thank you for helping me spread that awareness. So let's get started. What up, everybody? It's George Lingabeer with Silverhammer Surveillance. Here on the channel, we talk smart home tech, we talk home security. Lately, we've been talking colon cancer. I was diagnosed in October 2022, and that's what this one's all about. I wanted to do a Q&A. I wanted to give you guys a chance to get to know me better and to shine, because you guys are so supportive and so loyal. And you, especially with the health journey, I'm telling you, I've barely had a negative thought because of the love and support I've received from around the world. And so I wanted to give you guys a chance to really be involved in this and get a take from my family, who's my biggest support group. So these are your questions about my cancer journey, and I very much appreciate it. Delaney, ask away.
All right. So Kay Loves Cat says, how does your wife handle anxiety before scans and also scan results?
Okay, well that's a biggie, because scan anxiety is a real thing, not just for the patient, but also for the family that is supporting that patient. So I think you have to frame it up in your mind that you can't pre-worry about bad news, because then you're giving that bad news even more power over you. So you have to be cautiously optimistic, which you have to talk yourself into. Like, you have to think about those voices in your head and let them process, but don't let them dwell. So I just have to tell myself that these scans are part of the solution. Cancer is a sneaky bastard. So anything that can shine a light in those dark corners and say it's here, what are we going to do about it, to me is part of the action plan. It's not something to be taken lightly, but I think you have to make the positive out of it and not let it just dwell in your mind of what could happen. Let's deal with it when it does, or whatever happens.
And when we're talking scans, I've had several just since October. We did a CT scan first. CT scans are just kind of a general scan. There's a PET scan, which lights up cancer like a Christmas tree. So there's an MRI, which I didn't do so well. But yes, and we've had some good ones. We've had some bad ones. At first, we had a CT scan where it looked like I might be stage 1 or 2. Then we did a PET scan where all of a sudden we determined that I had spots on my liver, which determined it was stage 4. Not only did I have 3 spots on my liver that were, somewhat decent sized, but I also had these microscopic spots. Then we turn around, we go through this bowel blockage and this bowel perforation that I had where I was in the hospital. In between those 2 things, we had a PET scan, no evidence of disease there. My liver was clear. And I'm told if something's going to take me out, it's going to be my liver. So the fact that that scan was clear was awesome. Then we did a CT scan after my surgery, and that's clear of disease. So we went from the bad news from a PET scan where I have stage 4 to the last few being great. But each time you get these scans, the anxiety is a real thing. Right now, we're on chemo. We just did treatment 9 of 11. Getting a big PET scan in the 2nd week of June, and that's going to be a big one to see if I'm still no evidence of disease, which is NED, which we call it in the cancer world, and that's technically remission. So yeah, scan anxiety is a big deal, and we all have to deal with it. But these guys got my back. All right, next question. Yes.
All right. From Mousy Lee, how has cancer changed the way you think about life, beliefs, or any other perspective that may be different than before cancer?
I mean, it just, it doesn't change me that much, but you definitely do appreciate life more. I mean, you got to live for today. I hope to live for a long time, but it makes you think about things. How long you're going to be here. Should you be making different arrangements? Should you buy a car? Should you do this? Belief-wise, it really hasn't changed much. The support from around the world is crazy. That is one thing that has changed for me. I was a loss prevention manager for a long time, and I saw people do the worst of the worst. People on drugs, people abusing their kids. So that part of it has changed drastically. This love and support I've received and the change in how I look at humanity and how wonderful you all are, that has been a blessing because I was kind of a cynical dude before, and you've really changed that for the better. But yeah, you definitely got to live for today. You appreciate every time you hang out with your family more, and you just think about what your priorities are, and how you should be living your life. And for me, it's really about the awareness and spreading that positivity and helping people as much as I can while I have the chance and the platform. But it's really, it just makes you appreciate things a lot more. Just being outside, working out, taking a walk, my bike rides every day just seem a little bit better. It's just everything I changed in my diet, losing weight, it's all made me feel better. So especially right now where I've kind of got the clear of being healthy, I just learned to appreciate every day of that. I went from the bowel perforation where my life sucked there, where it could have taken me out. Being in the hospital for 10 days, you realize that you're actually sick, but then you come out and you just rebound, and I feel great. And it makes me appreciate every day I feel great. Okay, next question.
All right, this one is from Jeff W. He says, I totally get the rebirth. I've seen the change from Adidas to Nike, the unicorn motorcycle, and living life. It's amazing. I'm interested to know what has happened musically. How have your music tastes been affected, and what are you listening to?
And this is a great follow-up to the last question about how I've changed. I did get a Harley again. I was out of the Harley world for a while. I did switch from Adidas to Nike, which I think some of you have followed. But Jeff, I love you, dude. I feel like you're another brother from another mother. And this question is amazing because music is life, and music gets me through everything. And I've talked about HomePods and Sonos and how I listen to music all the time. I find that this cancer journey has just kind of got me all over the board, but I find myself really loving anthems. Like Styx, Fooling Yourself, The Angry Young Man has become an anthem. If you listen to the lyrics of that song, man, it motivates me. There was a period during my surgery where I was stuck here for 4 to 6 weeks with no human contact. I watched a performance they did, Styx did of that song in Chicago. I watched it every day to motivate me and pump me up. Walk by the Foo Fighters. There's just a few songs that just have really inspired me, and the words and the lyrics just really hit me at heart. So for me, through this journey, I've just really picked up some anthems that have got me through this. Young the Giant, My Body, songs that just get me pumped up and just keep me positive. But, I've always been across the board with music, and that's still the same thing, but I've really found some good anthems. And some that surprised me. I was never necessarily a Styx fan. Now we're about to go to a Styx concert, and I'm so pumped up to hear that song live. I'm telling you, that song has just got me through this, and it's just such a weird thing. The Cars, actually some people that have some bands that have had people die of cancer, like the Cars, Benjamin Orr. I've started watching Drive, the performance of Drive, and some of their songs from Live Aid way back when, and just knowing that he ended up dying of cancer and seeing how young he was and, just vibrant in his voice and all that kind of hits you in a different way. So I've just kind of, it's been a musical exploration since I found out. And I love this question, Jeff. So thank you.
And I think you owe a lot of your musical love to your parents.
I sure do. Man, my mother, I call them apartment songs. When my parents got divorced when I was 7, she and I lived in an apartment together, single mom, taking care of her boy. And man, she had music playing nonstop. And then I'd go to my dad's and just beautiful memories. He had this ginormous record collection. And when I was come inside from playing with my boy Billy, he'd be sitting there sorting his records, listening to music, Elvis, the Beatles. My mother, just a plethora of music just playing in my background all the time. So yeah, it's my parents that got me there. And I'm so proud of Delaney because she's just an old soul when it comes to music too. And her musical tastes blow my mind in such a beautiful way. But yeah, music's a big deal. So thanks again, Jeff, for the question.
All right, next is from Andrew W. He says, how are they handling it? Meaning, do they feel like they're a part of the battle or something else? I guess, how are they doing mentally if it's not too personal?
So that's for the family, and you guys will be able to answer better than me.
Yeah, well, I'll kick it off, but then I'll hand it over. I think part of this battle is just understanding communication, because communication changes in this situation. It gets much deeper You depend on others so much. You figure out who your circle is. You find those that you can talk things through with. So when it's being part of the battle, it's also talking with the patient. Like, you can't not talk with the patient. You have to be there for them, and be ready to listen. And actually, communication even changes a little bit with chemo brain, with stress brain.
Yeah.
Like, you have to figure out your patience with each other. So
Chemo brain is a thing, let me tell you.
yeah, so hopefully he doesn't mind, but we had a conversation the other day about the difference between a Pop-Tart and a Sweet Tart. just so you can get an idea. Like, he had it in his mind, but it just took a minute to digest through. So it really is a thing.
Yeah, this last weekend hit me pretty hard with the chemo brain. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, we did have that conversation, and I catch myself doing it, but I can feel it. It's like a fog, and it's weird. But
Yeah, but you have to work your way through those things, because you could very easily get frustrated, or things could go awry in a conversation. And I think with that gratefulness, you got to catch it when that happens. Like, you got to be cognizant of that communication piece, so that you are still battling on the same side, and you're not battling with each other.
Anything to add?
And I will say, as far as the journey goes, it's a family thing. I mean, I can't tell you how much I appreciated Teresa keeping in touch with me and George every time there was a test result, or Teresa texted me in the middle of the night. She was at the hospital, and I went dashing off and got to sit there and, just knowing other people were there with you. Like when he had the perforation and Teresa and I were in the emergency room, we looked it up on our phones and thought, this is not good. But we looked at each other with terror and thought, we're not telling him that. And we had each other to get through that. Delaney had a lot of other things going on at the time, but
she was there.
But she was there.
She was there as soon as she could be there.
But you share the victories, and you feel bad for the defeats, and each time a number goes up or down, or a test doesn't come out so good, it hits you in the gut too. So communication is so important, because you just want to let them know you're there too. Even if you're not physically right next to them, you're there every minute thinking about it just like they are.
And I can tell you, this one right here is my biggest inspiration, because I'm going to be her dad for a long time. I got to be a grandpa. I'm going to be there for the wedding someday. I'm going to be around for this one. There's no way I'm leaving her behind for a long time. So family is a huge thing, and all these lovely ladies here. By the way, happy Mother's Day. This is being filmed on Mother's Day. We got a bonus mom, and we got my mom, and Delaney's mom and I get along great, and I'm so thankful for her for bringing this one into the world. So happy Mother's Day. But yeah, the family thing is great. And we call all of you my Langevere Fight Club, but this is the core of it right here. And I'd be lost without all of them. And Delaney's here every weekend hanging out and having dinner with us. And my mom hung out with me that 4 to 6 weeks I was recovering. Delaney did too. Delaney invited me to come see some apartments. She's with a property management company, just always trying to include me and stuff. And that's just, it's awesome. They were there with me. That was a rough period for me. And they've all been here. And Teresa, I mean, she's basically changing this colostomy bag like I'm a little kid with a diaper. And we've had some situations that have been pretty nuts.
But I think humor was very important.
Humor was very important, and she has been a rock for me. Family is so important to lean on. So I feel horrible for anybody that goes through this alone. I'm so blessed to not have to do that. And with all you guys supporting me too, you're my family too, damn it. So thank you, all of you, and thank you to this crew right here.
I would like to add the mental part of that. When you hear that cancer word, especially your only son, it's like a gut punch, because you're thinking, is he going to be here next week? You don't know what to expect. So after shedding my share of tears, I thought, and you feel totally helpless as a mom, you always want to run in with that safety blanket. I thought, I'm not really helpless. I have prayer, and I know he's got amazing doctors. Doctors can treat, but it's God that heals. So I enlisted the help of 4 very special friends, and I called family near and far, who all wanted to do something and also felt helpless, and we all started to pray. And I think that support and the support of all the YouTube people that I knew were praying and lifting him up made such a difference to us as a family, because it was encouraging to us as well, because we needed more strength too, just to be strong for him. So I thank all of you as well for that. And prayer is a powerful thing. I think he's the result of those prayers sitting here right now and the good health he's in. So thank you very much. And a special thank you to Teresa. I don't know what we'd do without her.
I don't know.
And special thanks to Delaney, because she can always lift his spirits and make him laugh and act goofy, and I love to see that myself. So mentally, we're all getting through it, and God is helping us, and I appreciate that.
And having people pray for me from around the world just blows my mind. You guys are amazing. So, yes, you're all my family, like I said.
Spiritual positivity is a big thing.
And you help me be positive for these other cancer survivors. A lot of people are reaching out to me, and I love that so much for my positivity. And so much of that positivity comes from your support and their support. And this one right here, I mean, she does. She keeps me goofy and normal and the old George, and it's a wonderful thing.
I mean, we talk about this Langenbeer Fight Club, but the originator, Miss Monica,
Yeah.
Mr. Eric,
Yeah.
they were there right from the get-go with food and support and check-ins, and Dwight and Deb, and I mean, we could talk about so many people that have reached out and just done something to make you feel supported. Shane and Caroline, and so just so
Random care
many.
packages in the mail. People
Yeah.
approaching Teresa about getting our address, or even asking me, and I'm like, why do you want my address? And then I get these wonderful gifts that just blow my mind, and just people that I haven't either talked to for a long time, some people I don't know, sending me these wonderful care packages. It just blows my mind. It's just wonderful. And again, it completely restored my faith in humanity, and I can't thank everybody enough. Okay.
This next one is from Mark J. He said, okay, I do have a question for you. Did you have any symptoms at all, or when they found this out, was it just a random screening? And do you have a family history of the C word?
This is a very good question. And basically, I've said this in some of my videos. When I was in high school, I had what was called a pilonidal cyst. And pilonidal cysts, people get them in their armpits and their tailbones. I had mine in my tailbone, so basically my butt. And when I had that cyst, I had it operated on. And the surgeon that did it kind of butchered me a little bit. And so I had the scar for it. In fact, it got me kicked out of the Navy. I was in the Navy for 18 days, and I got kicked out because they saw this scar. That's a whole other story. But then after that surgeon butchered me, I went to this surgeon, or this plastic surgeon, who was going to possibly fix what that dude did. But instead he taught me what was called local wound care, which basically is just cleaning yourself silly and cleaning yourself back to health. So as weird as it sounds, I just really clean that area very well, and I've been very in tune with it for a long time. In fact, I'm such a germaphobe and a neat freak, and I've said this before, sometimes I clean myself too much, and I made myself bleed. And again, these are weird topics, but damn it, we're going to talk about it. I made myself bleed. So last summer, I started to notice different blood, and I also started to notice change in my bowel habits. You know, when we all go to the bathroom, we kind of got a few different cycles of things that happen in the toilet. We're all used to it. Well, I was starting to notice a change, and there were things in the toilet, just the way the patterns were and everything were different, and I knew something wasn't right. And I've been a very healthy guy. You know, I was always a little bit of a bigger dude, but I just never really had to go to the doctor. And when I told Teresa I needed to go to the doctor, she knew something was funky, and so it was the change in bowel habits and a little extra blood that caused me to go. And I went to I had to find a primary care doctor because I don't go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor so little. I didn't have one. I had one way back in the day, but I thought he probably retired. It has been that long. And so as part of that, I was scheduled for a colonoscopy. Now, unfortunately, because of scheduling, and it wasn't anybody's fault, I think I went in July, and I didn't get a colonoscopy till October. And I'm telling you right now, if you're 45, male or female, go get a colonoscopy, because I'm telling you, I'm sitting here right now because I got one. Because if I didn't know about this, I'd probably be gone. So anyway, it was the blood and the change of the stool habits. And I went in and got a colonoscopy. They found 2 precancerous polyps and then the tumor. And they removed the precancerous polyps as part of my colonoscopy. And then the tumor, the rest is history. I've since had that removed as part of my bowel perforation and emergency surgery. But yeah, that's what happened. Change in bowel habits and some blood in the toilet, and I just knew something wasn't right. So that's a great question. When we're trying to spread awareness, man, it's not a popular topic to talk about poop. I can't believe how much I've talked about poop since October. But I'm going to talk about poop till I'm blue in the face because while I'm still on this planet, I'm going to help as many people as possible stop this from happening. So please get a colonoscopy.
And you don't have any family history.
Oh yes, the
which
family history
tells you.
So I did go through a genetics test as part of this process. It was very interesting because they're looking for if you had a genetics marker that could cause this. And luckily for Delaney, I did not. So it's not. So she's not precursored for this, which is great. Now she's going to go get a colonoscopy hopefully at 35 instead of 45 because that's the suggestion. Just because I have had this in the family now. But we have my aunt who actually asked a question in this. She's got breast cancer. She's a badass survivor. My mother's dad, but nothing like really directly related to me that would be like an actual family hand-me-down type thing. So yes, good question there. But yeah, I actually went through genetics testing as part of this, so it's a very important part of this process. So great question.
Okay, next one is from Phyllis G. Were you surprised from how many people you heard from that had it or know someone that has it?
Yes. Now, for me, I started getting involved in, when I started spreading awareness on YouTube and Facebook, especially on Facebook, a lot of people that, are casual friends or whatever started telling me about people in their circle that have had this. And then I also joined a group called Blue Hope Nation on Facebook. And what I was really surprised by there, and we might touch on this again, but is the age. Now, the age for a colonoscopy is 45, but so many people in that group are in their 20s and their 30s. I did a great little video with some badass ladies that are cancer survivors. They were both, pretty young, especially one. So that's just crazy to me. But yeah, I was really surprised. And, if you go to the movies nowadays, one of the trailers now is talking about 50% of people having cancer. So it's to the point where we pretty much almost might all have it in there. It's just whether or not it rears its ugly head. And that's scary. But yes, very surprised by how many have had it and how many have reached out to me about colonoscopies. And it's just crazy to me. But yes, it's a scary thing and very serious matter to, have that awareness out there and pre-screen. These colonoscopies can just ease your mind, especially with colon cancer. But there's other screenings for every type of cancer. It's so important so that we can just stop how common this is becoming. All right.
Okay, next one is from GP1021. Were you surprised by how many people that are young have it?
All right, and we just talked about this. So I just answered this question. But yeah, the people in their 20s and 30s, it's blowing my mind. The colon cancer especially. And colon cancer is one of the top 2 cancers that get people. So yeah. They just lowered the age from 50 to 45 on the colonoscopies. And in a few years, they might have to lower that even more. So I was definitely surprised by that. That group alone. I thought I was pretty young, but that Blue Hope Nation group makes me feel like an old man in that group, which is crazy.
All right, this next one is from LB. They said, how about the question, did you research your family history? Did anyone in your family have it?
And there we go. So I already answered this too. Yeah, so I had that genetics testing, and it was basically my aunt and then my mom's dad. But otherwise, we really have been cancer-free in our family, which is fantastic. But I did not have any sort of precursor condition. So.
All right, this is the one from Aunt Jan.
Okay. So yeah, my Aunt Jan, this is basically a general statement from her because she is a cancer survivor. She's been kicking it for a long time. And a really tough lady and one of my favorite relatives on the planet and a wonderful human being. And as a kid, my favorite aunt to visit, I would cry when I left her house.
Oh, yeah.
I love that woman so much. Still do, and very much. And if you've seen my smart home tour, I got some mementos for her in my place here. And but yeah, so just go ahead and read her statement and I'll follow up on it.
Okay. She said, get a second opinion if you're not happy with the first answer. You know your body better than anyone. The first doctor told me he didn't find any lumps, but I knew something was off. The second doctor found 3 lumps, or I might be dead today. We're lucky you liked your doctors right off. Doctors.
And my mother can follow up. She just told us something else when she got here.
My sister was telling me this morning that the lumps they found were more toward the center, and she didn't even know that was like a cancerous area. And the second doctor was the one who found those. And of course, she ended up with abort and surgery and chemo and all that, or she might be gone today if she listened to the first doctor. But she knew something was wrong. She just knew something was off. It just wasn't right. And even though she only found one small thing herself, the second doctor found three. And he just jumped right on it. And, you know, they gave her 5 years and she's on 9. So, and she's just doing great. So
And
I'm thankful for that. But she listened to her body.
And she's one of my inspirations that I'm going to be around for a long time because she's kicking it, I can kick it. But yeah, so me personally, I've been very blessed with my medical team. I can't say enough about them. From the RNs here at the Omaha Cancer, or the Nebraska Cancer Specialists that take care of me during chemo, to my colorectal surgeon, Dr. Hernandez, to Dr. Dittrich, who's going to be my liver surgeon if I need him, who I've had contact with, and he's done some stuff for me. And then Dr. Hike, who my badass oncologist, the quarterback of this situation. I have been just blessed from the get-go, but I will tell you that I've heard a lot of people through this journey that had to get second opinions and third opinions, or they had to go to a different state because they didn't like their care. So I'm so blessed to have been, these people have taken such good care of me, and I feel like I'm in such good hands, and it's the reason I'm doing so well right now. But for those of you out there, yes, absolutely, get second opinions, get third opinions. This is your life you're talking about. This is your family you're talking about. Do what you need to. And for me personally, listening to my body has been a big deal. My first bowel blockage, both that could have taken me out. That's a little more minor than my bowel perforation, but both the blockage and the perforation was me listening to my body. For my bowel blockage, I just didn't feel right. I felt like almost like when you have to throw up, but you can't. I knew something was wrong and told Teresa. Luckily, we went to the emergency room first day, and sure enough, my bowel was blocked. And that can lead to all sorts of things, including a perforation. For that, they put a stent in me. We feel that one of the cancer ingredients, which is called Avastin, which makes it hard to heal, might have affected my surgery for the stent, which might have caused my perforation. And that was no fault of my medical team. It's just that they had to do what they had to do to fix my blockage. They got me off the Avastin as quickly as I could, but it was too late. And then that perforation happened very soon after. But then again, that's where my colorectal doctor, I can't thank him enough. I mean, that could have taken me out. They were talking about how they freaked out in the waiting room. I Googled it after the fact, and it really freaked me out that it could have, I could not be sitting here because of that perforation. And the good Dr. Hernandez saved me, saved my butt, literally. And I'm so thankful for that. And then, Dr. Hike, the whole team came and visited me every day in the hospital. If they couldn't make it, which they did most days, they sent in their team every single day. The nurses in the hospital were fantastic. I can't say enough about the medical professionals that have helped me through this process. But to get back to the question, listen to your body, get a second opinion, third opinion. It is your life. It is your body. You want to live as long as you can. You want to beat this thing. Do whatever you need to do it and get the right medical care for sure. And I'm so glad you're still here, Aunt Jan. I love you.
Me too.
Me too.
All right. Next question is from Turquoise Lady. Did your doctor recommend other things to add to your treatment, like certain foods to avoid, exercise, or vitamins/supplements?
Yeah, so I've just changed my diet a little bit. There's different schools of thought on this, and my oncologist has told me this, the battle of sugar. Sugar's not good for you no matter what. So there's no brainer things you can do. For me, I was drinking 48 ounces of Mountain Dew a day for years and years, and sometimes more than that in a day. I cut that out immediately. I was a big dessert guy. I love zebra cakes, Little Debbie zebra cakes. My mom got me hooked on them way back when. I had those for my childhood, my adult life. I kicked those out. I've really tried to limit the sweets. We've done more protein. So it's just, there's myths and there's different schools of thought. My mom had me start taking vitamin D, read a lot about how vitamin D helps through this process. After my surgery, I went back to taking Flintstones multivitamins because it's the only way I can do chewables. And with the bowel perforation and blockage, you got to do it a certain way. No gummies. So I'm taking Flintstones vitamins like I was 5 years old again. I'm taking vitamin D every day. But really, it was just about changing my diet. When people look at me, I've lost 60 pounds. It's not because of cancer. It's because I've changed my diet and I've got addicted to cycling. And that was happening before cancer. So I lost a lot of weight before cancer, but I've had cancer longer than I thought. I got diagnosed in October 22, but stage 4, I've obviously had it for a while. But yeah, you just got to listen to your medical team. There's a dietitian at the Nebraska Cancer Specialist. She was fantastic in talking to us, especially with my perforation. You got to worry about fiber or not fiber. You got to switch back and forth depending on your medical condition. When you have a bowel perforation, you don't want to eat fiber because you don't want it to get too crazy. It's just a back and forth thing.
Well, and the colostomy bag puts a whole other
The colostomy
spin.
bag puts a whole nother spin on my diet.
Yes.
Because it's got a mind of its own. I can tell you that much right now.
Well, and raw vegetables, lettuce,
Yeah.
are like the enemy.
I miss lettuce, so I had to cut out lettuce. So yeah, it's all a consideration. But if you have any type of cancer, you just really want to talk with your medical team about what's specific for you and what's going to work for you, because there are a lot of myths out there and a lot of misinformation. But they'll help you, and find a dietitian. But yeah, that was a big deal.
Okay, last one is from Lainey Liz. How many colonoscopies have you inspired thanks to your videos?
This has been unbelievable to me. We are at 152, my last count. So 152 people have contacted me and told me that they got a colonoscopy because of my videos. That alone, you don't want cancer.
That's amazing.
But it's amazing to think and that's people that contacted me. And so there's others out there I know that got one. But several of those people had precancerous polyps. And this is a big deal when you're out there listening. You can have these precancerous polyps that will turn into cancer, but these colonoscopies, they can take those out. I had 2 of them. So you can just have those and have those taken out. But those people that had those taken out, I basically helped them prevent them from having cancer. And that fills my heart, blows my mind, all the above. And I can't tell you how special it is to me that I've had that effect on people. That fills my heart. It's, you hate to have cancer, but it almost makes it worth it that I've helped these people. And this is across the world. This is not just in the United States. So 152 that I know of. When we got to 100, it blew my mind. We're going to keep going. So 45, male or female, get a colonoscopy. It's one of the most important parts of this is the prevention and the awareness for me. I just shared on Facebook and Instagram a person that sent me a message that I don't know, that just told me that they just got diagnosed and that they looked to me for my positivity. They found me online, and my positivity brings a smile to their face. My fight brings a smile to their face. That gets me, man. I love it. And this colonoscopy thing is so important to me. It's just grown so near and dear to my heart. So please, pre-screen, man. You can save yourself from going through what I'm going through and what these guys have to go through with me. I could have stopped it. I was 48 when I got my colonoscopy. I'm 49 now. The age had just changed, so I thought I was within the range. I should have gone at 45, but really at 45, I probably would have been too early. So it's a weird game there, but no matter what, just keep going. Between 45 and 50, just keep going. Get one and figure it out, because this colon cancer thing is so common. It's crazy. And like I said about the young people that are getting it, it doesn't matter. I hope Delaney does go when she's 35. We got to stop this from happening. And the colonoscopies are so easy. The prep does suck, but it's just prep. You're drinking some water that's kind of nasty. I'm told there's a Gatorade one that I haven't got to try that's not so bad. There's other pre-screening kits you can do that don't full-blown colonoscopy. It's so easy to screen. It's one night of hanging out in the bathroom for a few hours. But the colonoscopy itself was nothing. I've said this in my previous videos. I woke up, I thought I just took in a nap in the waiting room. I didn't even think I'd been in there yet. And they said, oh yeah, you're done. And I've had 3 now as part of this process, and all 3 of them were the easiest part of all of this. So get a colonoscopy. And I'm so happy the 152 of you have reached out. And if you haven't reached out, I'd love to know about it, because I can't tell you how much it fills my heart. So
That was it.
Cool. That's the questions.
Are we all going to say peace and love at the end?
Yeah, we're all going to say peace and love. I want to thank you so much for sending these in to us, for your support. You're sticking with me through this journey. I know I'm supposed to be a smart home and security guy, but come on, I got to be a cancer guy too, because like I said, 152 people have listened. That alone makes all of this worth it. and you've all been so patient and wonderful, and I wanted to get you involved in this process. So thank you so much again for sending these questions. Some very important stuff. I loved having them here with me because they are the core of the Langolier Fight Club, but you're all part of it. And we're tough, and you guys keep me positive, and I'm going to beat this thing. And it's going to be because of all you having my back, and because of these three having my back, and my core here in Omaha, and my core around the world. So yeah. So thanks for this Q&A. Check out part 1. And this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, and thank you for letting us touch on this tough topic. But yeah, until the next video, let's all say it together. Peace and love. All right, have a good one. Till next time. Thank you.